So it's kind of nasty outside, and so I thought what I would do instead of working on cutting boards is work on some gnomes. So I thought gnomes, the little wooden gnomes that I turn, were going to be kind of seasonal, but it turns out that folks actually buy them year round. And so I could never make enough of them, which is a good thing. It's a good problem to have. But yeah, today I'm going to work on making a batch of gnomes. This will be the first batch of gnomes that'll have brown beards, which will be new for me. I know that sounds like something small, but a lot of the folks that collect them from me are always looking for different ones. So I've done gray beards, different types of gray beards, different types of white beards, never done a brown beard. So I'm going to do some brown beard ones today. So that's what we're going to work on today. Don't know how much of it I'll get filmed today, but you'll get to see this video in its entirety over the next couple days as I complete the process. Because today I'll turn them, get the shapes roughed out, maybe get some noses made, and then I'll need to glue beards on. So that'll take a little bit of time, but over the next few days I'll put that video together, and when you see it, it'll be like it was all in one day. So just like most of my videos, I'm going to do voiceover so you don't have to listen to the whir of the vacuum cleaner and the lathe. It's just not a good sound. And then I'll speed up some of the process so that it doesn't take quite so long to show you what I'm doing. So here we're just roughing the piece out. So this is just a piece of pine on the lathe using a roughing gouge, getting the rough shape, using a parting tool to create the base of the gnome, a bowl gouge to do some more shaping. At this point you're just trying to rough out the shape of the gnome, get the dimensions right. So here I'm just peeling away the wood. It's a really nice cut. There you have parting tool, just cleaning up the hat a little bit. A smaller bowl gouge for the tighter spaces. But yeah, you can already see the gnome taking shape there, its hat and its body. Here we're going to pull the tailstock away and clean up the top of the hat. Taking lighter and lighter cuts for a smoother finish here. And here you have it roughed out. So the basic shape is down. Here we're going to take those light cuts I was telling you about that are going to give it a much smoother finish before we start with sanding. And now we've moved into sanding. We're going to start out with a lower grit, I believe 100 grit here. And we'll work our way up to 320 grit. We're not looking for a mirror finish on these gnomes. Some things I sand to a much higher grit, but with these gnomes 320 does the trick. And once it's finished, we'll just cut it off the lathe here. And then here's some of the ones that I've completed up to this point. Different shapes and sizes. The hats have been torched to give them that darker look. And now we'll move on to making noses for them. So we're going to chuck up a piece of cherry in the lathe. And from here we're going to turn noses for each of those gnomes. Just using a bowl gouge, one of my most used tools. Making quick work of this piece of cherry. And we got to shape up the tenon portion that's going to actually go into the gnome. So we'll drill a hole where the nose goes, and that little tenon there will slide into that and mount the nose onto the gnome. Just sanding this piece up and then applying some wax before we part it off the lathe. There you have it, one nose. I think there's about 14 more to go, and then we'll have all of them done. And this step is probably my least favorite, and it's usually when my wife steps in to help out. So this is where we take the fake fur and we actually glue it to each of the gnomes. You have to cut it all, make a little slit for the nose, and then hot glue onto the gnomes. But as you can see, at this point they're done. Once you have the beards on, they're ready to go to their new homes. I really like the way the brown turned out. Glad I picked some of that up. And so thankful my wife helps me out with this step because I'm not a huge fan of it. And there you go. These are just a few of the ones that we finished, and they turned out great. Thanks so much for watching. Take care.